So like we were saying, we'll talk about order, Seder, how it's the thing that is going to ensure that all the other parts of our life kind of work together in unison. You can have all the wonderful characteristics in the world, but if they're not unified in purpose, they're not going to be that effective. They're not going to be that transformative. So we're going to start here at the third Vaad, and he's quoting a Gemara in Sota, or Saita, depends which pronunciation you like. And the Gemara says as follows. Amar Rava. Rava says, Miyom shechar beis hamidrash kol yom v'yom kol lasam ruvim shel chaveru. From the day that the temple was destroyed, each successive day, the curse is worse than the prior day. Shenemar, as it says in the verse, Baborka Torah miyitin erev, erev Torah miyitin boker. This is the verse that's part of the Tochacha, I believe. Let's see. That's right. In Kisava, when it gives us the admonition, what's going to happen? Jews misbehave, they get kicked out of the land, the temple's destroyed, and it's so bad that in the morning you just hope for the night, like when will this day be over? And the night's so terrible you hope for the morning, and every day is successively worse. Hey Boker. So which Boker are we talking about? Which morning are we talking about? Ilim or Boker de Lamachar, if we say that the Boker means of the forthcoming day, so it means, let's say, Tuesday night, you're waiting for tomorrow, for Wednesday morning. Miyadamai Hava. Who knows what's going to be? Means who's to say that that's going to be any better? Who says that's going to improve, right? You say, oh, if only tomorrow morning would come. Well, maybe tomorrow morning will be even worse than today. Rather, Ella says, the Gemara, the Cholaf, the one that passed. Means at night you'll say, oh, it got so bad, if only it was only as bad as it was this morning. Ve'ela alma maika makayim. So why is the world, means what's sustaining the world? If the world is just so bad and so terrible, what's going to uphold the world? A kedusha de sidra, on the kedusha, right? The holiness. Vayehesh me rabba, and we say the kedusha in the prayer, and yehesh me rabba, de agadata. Shenemer eretz afsak ma ofel tzamavas v'lo starim. Okay, so that's the Gemara. So essentially, it's saying that if there is Seder, if there's order, then the Ophel, which is the murkiness, will dissipate. And he quotes Rashi here, Akdusha de Sidra, Seder Kedusha Shalo Titnua Ela Shiyu Kol Yisrael Ostum Atorah B'chol Yom Davar Muat She'omer Kriyaso V'Targumo V'Henka Ostum Atorah V'Kem Sheno B'chol Yisrael B'Talmidim U'Ba'amei Aretz V'Yesh Kan Shnayim Kedushas Hashem V'Talmud Torah Chavefu. So he's saying that there's this idea that they established the prayer in order that the entire nation should engage in this Torah study every day, and the scholars and the lay people, and v'chein yehesh me rabba, the blessing that we say yehesh me rabba, v'arach she'onim achar ha'agada, shadar shedorish b'rabim b'chol Shabbos v'chein v'hayu nod yem kach, v'shamay nitbatzim kol ha'am l'shmor l'fi she'eno yom shemalacha v'yesh kan Torah v'kiddush Hashem. Essentially, they used to have these, these designated study that would happen, and one of them would be, it's called here Seder Kedusha. It's essentially a certain study session that they would have, and then they would have afterwards a Kaddish, a blessing, right, the prayer, and every Shabbos everyone would get together and they would study together, and afterwards they would have a prayer, and that's why the world's still around, because public unity in Torah study. Fine. And this is like a precursor to the Daf Yomi, where everyone's doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what he's going to bring from this. Okay, so let's see what he says here. Kasher Beit HaMikdash Haya Kayam, when the base Mikdash was, when the temple was extant, Yarad Al-Olam Shefa Rav Shel Bracha Baharat Panim. They descended upon the world wonderful influence of blessing, with in a positive way. Acharei Churban, after the destruction, Nistam HaShefa Hazeh, this got closed up. Ubimkomo ba Hester Panim, and in its place came Hester Panim. Hester Panim is kind of when God conceals his face. And progressively throughout time, the darkness increases, and the mevucha is the confusion increases. Hein b'chaim hamediniyim v'hakalkaliyim v'hein b'ruchnius. That's regardless in political life or economic life, and so too in ruchnius, in spiritual life, hein b'chlal v'hein prat. In general, in specific elements. Kol zot meish avodat hakorbanot batla shehi tirva et haklal Yisrael ve'et kol ankula ala borei yisbarach. All this is because the sacrificial activities of the temple were seized, and that brought the Jewish people closer, and the world at large closer to the Almighty. Ubazeh patchat tzinoret shel shefa bracha, and that opened up a pipeline of blessing.
Because of the karbanos, not necessarily because the Beis Hamikdash meant there were karbanos, but it was the karbanos was more the ikar than the Beis Hamikdash itself.
That's what he says. That the karbanos they opened up a pipeline of bracha, of blessing for the whole world. Ach sof sof harei Klal Yisrael kayam. But even though the temple's destroyed, right, we're still around. V'haolam al tilo omed, the world's still standing. Ubeheder ha'avodah b'Beit HaMikdash, and with the absence of the worship in the temple, alma kayam olam b'chol zot. What's upholding the world? Right? So, tarchu chazal v'chipsu minimum shel Torah v'kiddush Hashem hanoher b'chol Yisrael asher b'dal ha'olam roi l'tkayim. So the Chazal, they worked hard to find what's the minimum of Torah that's kind of universal and ubiquitous amongst the Jewish people. Umatzu shnei starim ktanim eila. They found the two small seders that the people have, like repeating activities. Hakdusha b'uva l'tzion, with the prayer that we say in uva l'tzion. Sheish bar gam targum v'hakadish. That has also the Targum, the translation. V'hakadish achrei hadarsha b'Shabbat, and the Kaddish, the Yehi Shmeirah, that people that would say after the speech on Shabbos. V'haklal hagadol bazeh im yesh starim tofia meufal. And if we have Seder, if we have order, then we'll get rid of the darkness. So what he's bringing here is like this: is that you talk about the temple, and we have sacrifices, and we have kind of the Jewish people in their best kind of situation, and that's gone. And now what do you have instead? Like, what's going to keep it all together? Well, these small little things that we do here and there, but we do it every day, and we do it collectively, and it's kind of this nationwide Seder, like nationwide, everyone does of Torah study and of prayer. Everyone could feel this. Betom yom mesudar, at the end of an organized day, nachad da'ato shel adam, and a person is like calm and he feels good about himself. B'hardisho shahayom haya malei umutzlach, that the day that the day was full and it was successful. Ubiyoma de Padra, I don't know what de Padra means. Let's see. Shastarim are dealing b'teilim. So I guess it's like an off day when the regular Seder is cancelled. V'lo he still Seder asmo az, and he did not. He wasn't clever to make himself a Seder on that day as well. Hayom over b'li kachat u'bli tat u'basofo machshava noga hakazeh haya yom tov. And the whole day is disjointed. And at the end, you feel like you missed out on an opportunity. Was this a good day? Like, did you accomplish anything today? That's a frustrating thought. V'haya im tifrosh adam navuch b'chol inyanav. It would be if you met someone who is disorganized or has chaos in his whole life. He doubts himself and he doubts his outlook. Tarud ba'asakim tanim. He's busy with small little things that disturb his focus. He doesn't see a future. If you see someone whose life is kind of in shambles, go and examine what's his daily schedule. And you'll find out for sure that he's not organized. Ube'ein Seder, ein ratzon. And without Seder, without order, there's no ratzon, there's no desire, there's no willpower. And is it such a shock, is it such a surprise that this person is submerged in darkness and is groping like a blind person in the afternoon? And regarding us, yesh od lemalot chalal reik. We have to still fill an empty void. Limot chot var kavanu latzmenu seder. We already established in the previous Vaadim to the imperative of establishing a daily routine. Ve'ech shehu anu shomrim oto, and more or less we're going to observe it, adhere to it, hearken to it. Adhere to it. Ach limei Shabbat v'Yom Tov, but for Shabbos and Yom Tov, adayin lo kavanu Seder. And I would add, probably for us, it's like Sunday.
Yeah, for sure.
Sunday, like you sleep in and
Shabbos Sheni.
Shabbos Sheni. And it's like the kids aren't going to school. Why get out of pajamas?
Yeah.
The whole day is scheduled every time.
And then you don't really accomplish much. I'm not saying that relaxation is so terrible, but in Israel, it's like Sunday's a regular day.
I know.
Right.
It's hard.
So interesting.
It's so nice. Like Motzei Shabbos, it's like, I have to go to bed. I have work.
Yeah.
School.
I love it. So nice.
So weird.
It's fantastic.
It's great. It's efficient.
It's more life,
Yeah.
When you grocery shop. Thursday
Like
night.
imagine like
Thursday night
you
around
can
11
be
with everybody
promised
else.
to have 14% more life.
I know.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
I'm going to risk going on
I don't think the
14% more life.
person's gone.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
It's pretty great.
In Shabbos, if you just add Shabbos, it's 29% more life. ולכן דווקא ימי עלייה אלה עוברים עלינו בלי התעלות. So if we don't have any Seder, then specifically these most potent days for growth and transformation, and we don't have it because we're not organized. Va'od b'btela yitera, and moreover, with complete wasting of time. לכן נקבע לעצמנו גם לימים אלה סדר מרווח שתהיה בו מנוחה, אך גם תורה וקדושה. So we should establish for ourselves on these days as well. Yeah, of course you should have menucha, you should rest and whatever. Rejuvenate yourself. Ach gam Torah v'kedusha. V'ulai nistya, but also Torah v'kedusha. V'ulai nistya al yidei ze lit'om ta'ama shel Shabbat harital melchaim zachu. And perhaps through this we will taste the taste of Shabbos, which is Ta'ameh Chaim Zachu, that those that taste it merit life. I think it's very interesting. One point that kind of jumped out at me from what he's saying over here. So first of all, he added another piece here that after a day where you're organized, you like accomplish, you kind of feel good about it. You feel like you're alive. you're vibrant in your life, and the people that are like disorganized and don't have a life in order, it's literally because they don't have it in order. There's no order. But to me, I found it very interesting that if there's no Seder, there's no Ratzon. Ratzon is a very heavy word. But Ratzon is essentially what motivates us to do anything. What's going to guide us in life? Where are we going to end up? Wherever our Ratzon, our will, is going to propel us to go towards. And the big problem that we may have is, what if our Ratzon wants us to do bad things? What do we do then? That's what we really desire.
Yeah.
What do we do then? That's a problem. But there is a solution. My grandfather would always say that it's possible to even change what you want, because sustained, clear, cogent, intellectual analysis is able to change desires.
Yeah.
Because if you recognize something so clearly, that kind of change that you don't even want. Like the people that go to the doctor and they say, "Oh, these are healthy lungs and these are your lungs," right? And and you'll die within a certain amount of years if you don't stop smoking. But he loves cigarettes, right? He or she loves cigarettes. Well, but this kind of impression is like, no, I don't love cigarettes anymore. I hate cigarettes. I want to flush them down the toilet.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You just loved it yesterday. No, but your recognition, your new information changed your ratzon. But here he says that if there's no Seder, there's no ratzon. Means if you don't have Seder, then you don't have the crucial ingredient to propel you to do things. Yeah. And now, I don't know if it's causative or it's just, if you really had the ratzon, then you would organize it. Means that's not clear. He's saying, it means...
You can sure see the way the Pasha reading of it, which is that if you, in your mind, everything you have to do for the day, let's say, is all jumbled up and you have a bunch of things that you can't even think of what to do first, you'll get nothing done. You have no desire to really, no drive to do any one thing because you just know you have always things to do, so you have nothing done. You need to say, you need to order, first I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and you prioritize what you have to do. Without that, you almost really have no ratzon to do anything.
Why? Because if you had the ratzon, you would prioritize that way.
The ratzon, in the sense of a desire to get things done. The more things you have to do, and the more jumbled it is in your mind, the more you just feel overwhelmed by how much you have to do, and you have no desire to actually get started necessarily. In an extreme case, we all try to get some prioritization in our minds to figure out what to do and keep moving. But if you really feel overwhelmed from all the things you have to do, and there's no Seder to them, you don't do anything. You just sit around thinking how much you have to do. Because I do. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm speaking to myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I made a list of kind of the big projects that I have in my life and how to allocate a certain amount of time to it per day, and just to see how that would work. Like put on like a stop clock, because some people have it easy because their daily calendar is made for them by someone else. So that simplifies things a little, or it makes the problem narrower. They only have I don't know, 12 or 15 hours to take care of.
College, you have the schedule. You have to be in this class in this time. So.
Right, so that makes it easier. But, so I have a certain rigid schedule, but I still have a lot more flexibility than most people, and that really affords me to do a lot of things. But if I'm not organized and I'm not measured and I'm not, responsible with the time and with the planning, nothing will get done. Nothing. Yeah. Well, or some stuff, the bare minimum, or not as much.
Yeah.
Even
our office, I know that's the biggest thing right now is trying to organize our office and everyone's tasks. Mm-hmm. Eric hired Aaron Berger to get in there and to make a schedule, make this organized, because everyone had their own system. Stephen would write things down on a legal pad. Eric would type them into a computer. I would have these notes all over the place. No one really had any idea what anyone was doing. So. So Rabbi Berger came up with this whole system and these programs where we now have everyone's
Slack.
agendas.
What do you guys have? Slack?
Trello, these boards.
Trello, yeah.
We learned about Slack recently. He wants to implement that too.
Slack's
it's
amazing.
Too much for what we have. What we need.
Too organized.
Yeah, Jeff Singer loves it. He does all his work through the Slack thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so much more gets done when you're organized, when you have a clear picture.
Mm-hmm. So and the other thing that he said is that this thing to us, we think of it as productivity. It's really nice to have productivity, but it's not really the core or the most important thing. But he says, well, that's essentially what keeps us around. The fact that we stick to a certain schedule, the fact that we're
Not controlling it, right?
yeah, well, in Torah as well, of course, but that's what's going to give us spiritual vitality, regardless. But that's what keeps us around. We used to have a temple, now we don't have a temple. What do we have? Well, the Seder that we have. That's what that's what maintains us as a nation.
Mm-hmm.
So very interesting. Okay.
If it's into action, otherwise it's just thought, and then nothing's a reality. Like
Yeah.
having a Seder, making things organized, and having tasks done. It's not just like there's people like, oh, I have so much to do, but like they're networking, but like they're not really networking and doing anything because it's all just a larger idea. When it puts it more into a physical form, more happens. It's more reality, more integrated.
Yeah, but I think we could say the Torah study, even though it may be abstract, but it's still that's real, that's tangible, that's Okay, let's go to our other book.